Write an equation for the following piecewise function. Okay, so we have a picture here, a graph of our function f of x in green, which is a line going from negative infinity, which will go all the way up and intersect with the y-axis at 2, and then from after 2 it jumps up here to 4 and then intersects again with the x-axis at 4, continuing all the way to positive infinity. So essentially we've got two steps here. The first one is to identify kind of what intervals are the pieces of our piecewise function. In this case we've got 2, and then after that is to figure out over those 2 intervals that we have what is the equation of the line or the curve. In this case we have just 2 lines to keep it simple, but hopefully we can pretty easily see that this graph splits right here along the x-axis, so right up to 0. So our two intervals here that we're splitting up, our 2 pieces of this piecewise function, are going to be for x less than 0 and x greater than 0. And now we want to look specifically at what happens at 0 too. So remember, when we draw these on a graph, right, the closed circle represents that there is a value held there, and the open circle represents that there is not a value held there. So in other words, this line contains up to 2, up to x equals 0, including at x equals 0, and this one is just starting from x equals 0 but not including it. So we want to make sure we include the less than or equal sign over on this first interval in this case because of the closed circle versus the open circle. But from here we just need to now determine for numbers x less than or equal to 0, what is the equation of the line. Unfortunately in our case I've kept it pretty simple because we can look and see, okay, this is going to have a slope of 2 because we're going over 2 up 2, so it's got a rise of 2 and a run of 2, both positive. So 2 over 2 is 1, so our slope is 1. We also know that our y-intercept is at 0, 2, or y equals 2. So if we think back to our y is equal to mx plus b form, in our case we've got a slope of 1 and a y-intercept of 2, so we will just have x plus 2 for this first piece, for this first interval of all numbers up to and including 0. Then beyond 0 we can look at this very similarly and see, okay, we're at 0, 4 here and 4, 0 here, so we're going to go down 4 and over 4, right? So that's going to be negative 4 over 4 for our rise over run. So if we think back to this form here, our m, our slope, in this case is going to be negative 1, right? Negative 4 over 4. And our b, since this line intersects the y-axis at 4, is going to be 4, so here we will have negative x plus 4. And that's how we can express this piecewise function.